Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Am I the A-hole? Story 1. AITA for wanting a space where my partner's children aren't allowed. My partner, Greg, and I are considering moving in together. Greg has 2 children, ages 5 and 7. I have no children, but one 50-pound dog. Each of our individual places is too small for everyone to live in together, so we're looking for a new place altogether. I love Greg's kids to pieces, but I am a naturally quiet, introverted person that enjoys peace, quiet, and solitude. I also get extremely anxious and uncomfortable in situations that are overstimulating to me in one way or another, too much noise, too much clutter, etc. I wish that wasn't how I act, but I can't just wish my mental illness away. I know a lot of this will understandably be sacrificed when living with young children, which is why I want a place in the house that the kids are absolutely not allowed. I'm not talking about an entire floor or wing, just maybe that small random bedroom that a lot of homes have and people tend to turn into offices or something. Also worth noting, Greg's kids are quite messy and irresponsible, even for their ages. I'm talking full-blown meltdowns when they're told to simply pick up after themselves. Greg thinks it is completely unacceptable and that it isn't fair to keep children out of a certain part of their own home, especially when the dog is allowed to go wherever she wants and the kids live with their mom 50% of the time. I think that I'm already meeting him at least halfway by just requesting one room that isn't covered in graham cracker dust. It's not necessarily their presence that can wear me down, but all of their stuff and mess, and sometimes noise. I offered that this could also be a space for him that he didn't have to let the dog into if he didn't want. We got into an argument about it and he said he didn't think it was fair to pay for an extra bedroom for me to sit in and be selfish, and then I said I didn't think it was fair that I had to pay for extra space for his kids, which I do feel bad about saying. Am I being unreasonably demanding? Is this just something I need to give into that comes along with dating someone who has children? Story 2. AITA for not wanting my great-grandmother to go on vacations with us. My great-grandmother, who we call Abuela, has dementia, and very bad glaucoma. We live in a Hispanic household as well. She has slowly been getting worse by the day and she can't really function well since she is in her early 90s. She is also quite emotionally abusive to my mom and grandmother, manipulative and condescending. This summer we went to my family's country for a month to visit other relatives and she was taken along. I understand that this would have probably been a one-time thing since she is old and hasn't been back in a while. She was very frantic at the airport with everyone around since she doesn't have good eyesight, she's stuck in a wheelchair, and has dementia. For the first 2 weeks, we were going to various hotels in different states to go to beaches, eat food, and visit monuments. It was fun. But once we got back to my relative's house that was taking care of my abuela, it just went downhill. My mom and I had to sleep in the living room on the floor with an air mattress, and my abuela was going crazy in her room. She kept waking us up in the middle of the night screaming that there was a man in the room, a child on the floor, or that I was getting arrested outside. No matter what we said or did, she still couldn't stop. It was only the time that we got back that she started doing that. While she was being taken care of by my other relatives, they never had to deal with that. We went to malls and also had to take her, which didn't make it easy for her since there was a lot of people around. My cousin and I had to wait with her for food and since it is so loud in there, we could not hear anything she was saying to us. She was very quiet and we tried telling her we couldn't hear her but she didn't listen. My cousin at that point was very frustrated and got overwhelmed and started crying because she's been frantic ever since we came back. When the trip was finally over, my mom was also talking about how when we go to another country, we will also be taking her. I got a little upset because I wouldn't want to put her or us in that situation again. It was very hard and stressful for all of us. I suggested that during the time we are in another country, we should admit her into a nursing home for the time being so she can be cared for. My mom thinks that it would be rude to do so, and that we are a Hispanic family and that they don't do that. AITA? Story 3. AITA for going off at my mill for excluding me from a speech. My husband, M40, and I, F36, have been married for almost 12 years and we have a child, M6. This past Saturday was my husband's 40th. I arranged everything and asked my mill to give a short speech. She started off well talking about his childhood etc., then his studies and then about the amazing grandchild he gave her. Not a single mention of me or his marriage. She spent the next 10 minutes talking about a female friend he grew up with, how amazing she was and how she is the daughter Mill always wanted, even bursting into tears. After the speech my husband was really upset, but I told him to forget about it for now and enjoy his party. I had almost each person at the party come to me and say WTF was that and how sorry they were for me. When we got home we started talking and I became very upset to the point that I sent my Mill an emotional message about how she hurt me. Her response was she did nothing wrong and it was all in my head. She even said I am threatened by this female friend of his, which I am certainly no. The next day, on my husband's birthday, she sent a message saying she is done with me, basically kicking me out of the family. My husband has gotten involved but she still does not seem to get what she did wrong. He even said to her that if a stranger would hear that speech they would have thought the female friend was his wife. I have decided I will accept nothing other than an apology from her, then we can move on. Now I am wondering AITA because this is taking a heavy toll on my husband, he has always been very close with him mom and hates conflict. I'm starting to wonder if I should have just shut my mouth and taken the disrespect from Mill. Story 4. AITA for not inviting my closest friend and her husband to my wedding. I have known my best friend, Paige, and her husband, Carl, from university days. We were also flatmates for a few years. I was much closer to Paige and my relationship with Carl could be, at best, described as a distant friend. Last year, when I was on a dating app, I happened to come across Carl's profile stating that he was looking for something casual. His profile was fairly detailed and consistent with what I know of him. After some contemplation, I decided to share this information with Paige. I told her that I was unaware of their marriage dynamic and was in no way judging, but I did feel she should know that this information is out there. Paige told me that it was a case of impersonation and that they planned to file a complaint with the cybercrime cell. She also mentioned that I should never bring this up with Carl, and that she would not tell him how she got this information. I agreed, and we left the matters at that. However, since this incident, things have changed quite a bit. Carl has stopped all forms of communication entirely. I am not invited to their house for any celebrations or gatherings. Previously I was invited frequently. When I invite them both, Carl has declined the invite, through Paige, every single time. Carl has not acknowledged any gifts I have given him lately. Recently, I decided to have an open conversation with Paige. I told her that I felt that the group dynamic had shifted quite noticeably. I also asked if it had anything to do with the dating profile. I requested clarity on the situation to help me draw my own boundaries. This is what Paige had to say. Carl still doesn't know her source of information about the dating app, and that I shouldn't ever bring this up with him. I wasn't planning to. Me never being invited to their home or for any plans even with our common friends for over a year, even though I live 20 minutes away, is just a matter of chance. She wants all of Carl's interaction with me to happen via her because she wants it like that, she said so explicitly. I shouldn't create a fuss and that it shouldn't matter to me if someone doesn't like me, while also simultaneously saying that if Carl didn't like me, she wouldn't tell me because that's private between them. I should take whatever response Carl gives me in my stride. I should invite Carl to my wedding but not directly and the invite must be through G and that I shouldn't worry if he refuses to attend. I should expected Carl to not attend, but if he does then I should treat it like a pleasant surprise. This whole situation has become uncomfortable for me and I am now contemplating not inviting them both to my wedding. AITA for not inviting my closest friend and her husband to my wedding? Story 5. AITA if I got mad at my friend for smoking. 17M, discovered today that my friend, 16F, smokes weed. It is frustrating because I was never told this. I heard it in passing in the hallways at school. However, I feel upset that she never spoke up when I was complaining about the stoners in the bathrooms. Or just those types of people in general. It feels almost like I've been betrayed, but I shouldn't. I keep telling myself that it's not something that I have a reason for knowing, so I shouldn't get mad. But I just can't get it out of my head. I'm mad at her right now and I sit next to her in my class after this. Should I confront her? Would I be TA for this? Update, I talked to her and she was understanding. She said that she understood where I was coming from, and said that she didn't mention anything because I seemed very upset at the smokers and she didn't want to lose a friendship over it. We came to an understanding and we're all good. Thank you for the Story 6. AITA for telling my sil that she doesn't have to wash everything before her baby is born. My sil is expecting her first baby at the end of this month. I have 3 kids. My youngest just turned 1, so I have a lot of baby stuff, baby swing, clothes, toys, etc., that we don't need anymore. Instead of donating them, I thought it would be nice to let my sil and her wife look at them before. I brought them over and they picked out what they wanted/needed and my sil immediately put it in the washing machine. I'm a very clean person, and all of the baby stuff was clean, so I confronted my sil. I asked her why she needed to clean my stuff if it wasn't dirty, and she knows I'm not dirty. My sil said that she's cleaning everything and named a long list of things she's cleaned for the baby, sterilized all bottles and pacifiers, washed all blankets, clothes, etc. I told my sil that it's pretty stupid to wash everything because what if she wants to take something back, and it's not like cleaning everything in her house is going to make her prepared for her baby. Nothing prepares you for your first. My sil took this as me being mean, but I was trying to be helpful. She should enjoy her last few weeks of pregnancy instead of cleaning everything. My sil's wife told me that we are allowed to do things differently with our children. I pointed out to them that they've never had children, so she's going to feel silly for doing. I also told them that when I was pregnant with my first I didn't want to listen to anyone, and I regretted it later. They will too. My sil made it seem like I was being in awe, but I don't see it. AITA? Edit. Obviously I know what nesting is, and obviously I wanted everything clean and perfect too. However, when one of my family members gifted me something, or if someone I know is clean and takes care of things, I didn't throw it in the washer. I might be coming off as nitpicking, but when someone throws something in the washer that came from your house like it was something dirty, you would be annoyed too. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.